Hello and welcome to another episode of Excellent Sports Talk with Mark. I am your host, Mark Bradley, and welcome to a great show. It's 2021. Happy New Year's, everybody. I hope everybody had a great New Year's, a safe New Year's. I know it wasn't a lot to do, but we're here. It's 2021. 2020 exactly wasn't the best year for a lot of people. May have been good for some people, but I know a lot of people it's kind of slowed everything down. But we made it. We made it another year. So let's all pat ourselves on the back for making it throughout this crazy year. And I'm so glad to be back after a week absence for Christmas. And now that we are back here on our regularly scheduled program, it's going to be another great year for the show. Hopefully, we can move on and improve and just get better and better as we go along. So, as always, I'm so happy to be here. And as always, we have some more great sports talk. So let me go ahead and give you the rundown for today's show. And first and foremost, let me go ahead and say Happy New Year to everybody. And so, okay, so our first topic is going to be the NCAA college football playoffs, which starts tonight actually. So that's going to be a fun 2 games, and we're going to go ahead and discuss those games and give our predictions on who's going to win on today's matchup to set up the college national championship game. So we're going to go ahead and discuss that. And then we're also going to discuss the NBA basketball season. It started over the Christmas weekend on December 22nd. And so we are going to talk about some surprise teams that are going on right now, and also just continue on just to look forward to another great NBA season. And of course, we're going to talk about the NFL. The NFL is on their final week, and it's happening this Sunday. And it's a lot of playoff implications that's going to happen this week. So we are going to go ahead and discuss those things. And so we're going to go ahead and get into it. And we have our first New Year's, and so you heard like and subscribe for good luck. And it's going to be a good luck. So it's going to be so we are going to go ahead and just talk about our discussions. And like I said, if you have any questions or comments, by all means, please. I love interaction. Go ahead and say who's your favorite team. If you have anything on New Year's, if your favorite team is playing this in any types of sports this year, let me know. Love interaction, love it. Just go ahead and give me a comment. We definitely going to go ahead and talk about it. So let's go ahead and get into our first topic. So that is the NCAA college football playoffs. And so, like I said in the beginning, today is the day. This is what everybody has been looking for, playing hard for in the college football landscape, and it all leads to here. So we have our 4 teams set in stone, ready to go. And so that is number 1, Alabama. Number 2 is Clemson. Number 3 is Ohio State. And number 4 is Notre Dame. Okay, so before we move forward, let's move back for a little bit. Now, before not last week, but the week after that, when I had my last show, I said that it won't be a lot of changing around in the college football landscape if one team loses to another team. Now, so here's the deal. So Alabama was able to manhandle Florida. So Florida was out the equation. I thought if Florida won, it would have caused a little controversy, right? But Alabama was able to do what they have to do against Florida, so Florida's out the question. Now here's the big thing that really took me back was the Clemson Notre Dame game. And so, like I said, they met up in the ACC championship game, and where Clemson was able to roll past Notre Dame. And I predicted this. I predicted this. I say if they had a chance to rematch like they did in the ACC championship, Trevor Lawrence did not play in the first game due to COVID health reasons, so he couldn't play the game. And so he was able to play this game. He was healthy. Everything was ready to go. And Clemson rolled through Notre Dame. Like, the game wasn't even competitive. I can't remember the score off the top of my head, but that game was not competitive at all. And so I seen this coming. I didn't think that the college football committee would kick Notre Dame out of the top four, losing to Clemson, even though they was blown out the water, right? Because I think who was 5th and 6th was Texas A&M and Iowa State. And they wasn't going to move those two guys up there, especially with Texas A&M beating beating Tennessee, who's Tennessee is really wasn't good in football this year. So, of course, they didn't have enough to really move them ahead of Notre Dame. Now, so Notre Dame was able to maintain their top four position, which, to be honest with me, I don't think should have happened. I think they should have put Texas A&M up there, but of course they wasn't going to do that. They was not going to do that. So Notre Dame was able to, by the skin of their teeth, make it into the college football championship. Now, 1 through 3 was pretty much set in stone. Well, even though Ohio State really had a big help from the ACC, and they managed to get their enough games to play in the Big Ten National Championship, where they had a tough game against Northwestern. Do not get me wrong, Northwestern was playing defense and caused a lot of trouble for Ohio State. But Ohio State managed to win the game, and look, they're in. So that's all that matters. As long as you win, you're in, right? So here we go. So Alabama and Notre Dame are playing in a Rose Bowl game here in Los Angeles. And so one against 4, and then number 2 versus number 3 in the Sugar Bowl down there in Dallas, Texas, or Arlington, Texas, if you want to be kind of picky with that, because Arlington and Dallas is kind of neighbors. But anyway, they're playing at the stadium where the Cowboys play, and it is Clemson and Notre Dame. So we're going to go ahead and basically give our predictions on who's going to win. So look, Alabama all year has been just strong, just strong. Sorry, man. Marlu. Look, I know you're a Florida fan, but look, Alabama is a strong team. Now, don't Alabama is Alabama, right? So look, Alabama all year has been a strong team. Just whoever's been in front of Alabama, they just swatted them away. Alabama each and every year is competing for this right here, college football championship. They've been number one wire to wire. It's just Alabama has impressed all year, and so that's the toughest matchup they're gonna have all season. I don't know, man. I believe you. I mean, until they get to the national championship against whoever they're going to play moving forward. So look, Alabama has been strong all year. Notre Dame has been strong as well, but they did lose against a Clemson team that's in the college football playoffs. And when Notre Dame gets to this situation right here, getting into the college football playoffs, they have not played well at all. I don't think they've won a college football playoff game since they started making the playoffs. So, and I don't think it's going to start now. I just think Alabama is too strong of a team to really lose this game against Notre Dame. Alabama is just so strong. Just every phase of the game, from offense, defense, and special teams. This team is just too good. It's like a pro team in college. Like they are that good. So Alabama, I see moving on to the national championship game. I think it's going to be a blowout. Look, to be honest with you, I think it's going to be a strong blowout for Alabama. Alabama is just that good of a team. So I'm gonna go ahead and give number one Alabama the win in the Rose Bowl game, and then we are going to go ahead and move on into the Sugar Bowl, which is out of Clemson and Ohio State, which I think is going to be more of a competitive game right here. I think Clemson, Ohio State, they match up very well. Two very strong offenses that can get points on the board very quickly. Two pretty good defenses that can make timely stops. I'm not going to say that this is going to be one of those low-scoring 14-10 type games. No, it's not going to be. These two offenses are too good. Justin Fields and Trevor Lawrence, two of the top quarterbacks in the NCAA, who's going to go and make some money pretty soon next year. With Trevor Lawrence definitely going number one. Unless there's some drastic change or anything that happens, and we hope that doesn't happen. But he's going number one to Jacksonville, and Justin Fields, wherever he's going to make somebody a happy camper. I see him going first round as well. It's going to make a team a happy camper. So it's going to be a much more competitive game. I think this is going to be a tight one, but I'm going to go ahead and give Clemson the edge with maybe like a 24-17 game. I think it's going to be one of those, grinded out games that's going to really be a tough game for both of these teams. And so I give Clemson the edge. When you have Trevor Lawrence on your team, who's a leader, who's a proven leader, who's barely lost in his college career, who's been in this situation his whole career. I don't think he's missed a college football championship game since he's been in Clemson. No, he hasn't. He's been here each and every time. He's already won a national championship. He made it last year, but LSU and Joe Burrow was just like a perfect team. And look, I don't think anybody's going to stop him this year. So let's see. Clemson, Ohio is more of a toss-up, but I have Clemson win by plus 14. Tigers are more battle-tested this year. I agree with that. And when they didn't have their quarterback for the COVID relations, they even played well against Boston College and Notre Dame. I mean, even that game went into overtime, and that's very hard to do without Trevor Lawrence, who's that quarterback, who's the man of the college football landscape, who's been the face of the college football for 3 years now. So I truly agree with you, Marlu, that the Tigers are very much more battle tested, and they're going to go ahead, and I think this is going to be a good game. I think it's going to be a touchdown game. Don't get me wrong, Ohio State is a strong team, but they did struggle against Northwestern, who they was playing down to their competition. Like, you can kind of see it, but they managed to win. So look, they're in. But I see Clemson go and Alabama. An Alabama national championship game, and so we're going to go ahead and just leave it at that. We're going to leave it at that for right now because I really can't. I wouldn't want to lowball you guys and give a quick prediction of Alabama Clemson game. I really had to do my research because both of these teams are the cream of the crop of the college football landscape, and so I would definitely want to revisit that. But as of right now, I have Alabama winning in a blowout against Notre Dame and Clemson beating Ohio State in a little bit a competitive game. So look, all year it's been a different times. Don't get me wrong. College football has been very interesting, where a lot of teams didn't play as many games as they should to even come close into the national championship game. But all these teams have played enough games. Well, Ohio State kind of got a little help, but I'm not gonna say anything. They made it, but these teams did what they had to do, played enough games, beat enough good teams to make it into the college football championship. And I am excited to see what's going to happen as far as what's the outcome of these two games that's happening tonight. And I hope you guys go out there and, watch those games. And so yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited to watch the games. And so we are going to go ahead and move on to our next topic, the NBA basketball season. But first we are going to excuse me. We are going to go ahead and take a break. So what we're going to do is segue into the next topic. We're going to look at some highlights from the Atlanta Hawks and Brooklyn Nets game, which was a great game, which was game of the year by far right now. So we're going to go ahead and watch those highlights. It's a little bit long, so I hope you guys enjoy. And I will be back in about 8-9 minutes. So I hope you guys enjoy the highlights.
James Caper, Scott Wall, Jason Goldenberg, our officiating crew. Joe Harris. They shot 49% in that game, 48% from three. Young, he could fill it up. You?
I don't. Well, I don't know.
Here's Young. To the rim, Trey.
It seems to be trying to get guys touches and facilitating early on.
Collins.
Concerted effort to make sure everyone is getting involved in the early stages of the game.
Pull-up jump, Kevin Durant. It's on the board. Hawks lead by 4. Young, upstairs, Capella, the finish. Couldn't.
For Houston, you got attention on Trae Young.
A deep one from Cam. 8 from the field. Harris gives it up. Lawawu Cabarro sticks it. It's a 3.
Man, the cap.
Backboard, he was looking for a foul. Irving the other way. With the left-hand pass, Durant banks it in.
Versatility of playing different ways. Can play big, play small. A lot of offensive-minded guys. He's got such excellent vision.
Irving drives, fades, book it.
For the offense, it is loosening up and freeing up these players.
Gallinari a 3. Yes. Great turtleneck from Michael Grady. Did not text us ahead of time to let us know. Trae Young all the way to the rack.
15 free throw attempts per game in the early part of this season.
Irving on the move. The adjustment. Allen is there.
I'm going to make a joke about Rooks, but we love him.
We do. Did you want us to agree? Was that rhetorical? Landry Shamet ended up in the right spot. 33-29. Bogdanovich ready to shoot, and he can shoot.
But playing quick, playing fast for the Nets.
Uncontested. Big finish.
Getting too trigger happy from the three-point line. You're still looking to attack. You're looking for those driving kicks.
Durant, attack mode. And the finger roll.
Those type of buckets. Get to the basket.
Advantage for Prince. Kicks it out for Durant. Against Hill. The pull-up. He's got it. Kevin Capella thought there was going to be a cut from Herter. Give it up to Hill. Rainbow 3 goes down. Doesn't really matter in today's NBA. No look. Allen rolls. Bank shot it. Good enough. Turn feed from Herter to Rondo. They move the ball around, and Bogdanovich lets it fly. Cans it through.
Love that play.
Herter swings it. Hunter with no hesitation for 3.
Man, that's
good work on the boards. He's got 5. LeVert, they leave him free, and he takes advantage with 4-0 since 2010-2011 when they started 6-0. Oh! Shest first half. LeVert, killer cross, kick, Green, veteran touch. Oh yeah! It's a 3. Gordon scraping for it, but it leaks out to Bogdanovich. Stop and go. That's nifty. $1 million, formerly with Sacramento. Durant, money. Cut to the rim, Joe Harris, and it's LeVert with a stick go for Collins. But the track down there by Young, and he takes it in with no resistance. Now for John Collins. Durant, short. He knew he missed it, makes up for it. 2-time NBA MVP and Hall of Famer. Durant gives it up, rolling to the rim. It's good, and a foul. Establishes himself in this second half. Rough first half for Kyrie. Durant Silky's track down the steal. Irving. Durant feeds Irving. Got it. 7-0.
Cabarrot and Durant looking at each other. That's the miscommunications that Udoka was talking about to our Michael Grady.
Durant shovels inside, uncontested.
To the weak side, and as Hunter followed him, that left Joe Harris wide open.
16 now for Harris. Quick answer from Young. Gets the step on Harris for 2.
And so that turnover slip because you got both those two defenders collapsing in on him.
Oh, long range. Change for the Hawks. Bogdanovich returns, replacing Capella. Handles. Off the window. Cut. Just the 3rd field goal for Kyrie Irving. Lob it up. Slam it down. John Collins from Trae Young.
To help with Trae Young and also be ready for John Collins, and that's what makes their ball screen so hard.
Oh, Durant to Allen for the throwdown. Here come the Nets the other way. LeVert, pull up. Got it. Carrot off the bench with 14. LeVert got a bump. Inside. Oh, Jared Allen steps in front of Shamet. Bogdanovich feeling it? Yes, indeed.
Not forcing the opponent to miss many shots. Atlanta has been cooking.
Durant gets it inside for Torrey.
That.
Durant. Cross over Herter. He's got it. A 3.
Close friend.
Well, I wanted to end 2020 on a
Speak for
positive.
yourself, Bird.
Kevin Durant. Oh, they'll bring busloads of people in. Herter lobs it up and slammed down by Collins. Double for Collins. Durant cross on Hill. Durant long strides with a left hand. Kevin Durant takes up a lot of real estate. Early offense for LeVert. Turns the corner. To the rim. Karis LeVert. Exploit. Ball gets knocked around volleyball style, and the Hawks control. Herter a 3. Yes. 22-12 Hawks. Tie game. Irving for the lead. He's got it. Extra feed. Luwawu-Cabarrot. 2 defenders there. Harris hot hand. Yes! Joe Harris. Irving. They blitz him with Capella. Irving turns the corner, lobs it up. Oh! With the Nets leading by 1. Irving. Pull up. Book it. Kyrie Irving. 27. Hawks 126, 4:35 to play. Irving gets the switch. Irving, step back. A 3! 2. Irving, high screen Allen. Right down the middle for Kyrie Irving. Bro. Ball movement leads to Reddish. Harris the help. Reddish the lane. Kyrie Irving. Now it's Collins. Powers in and works some help. Shot clock is down to 10. Irving lets it fly. He's got it! 137 to 132. Young. The scoop to the hoop for Trae Young. 136. 35 seconds to go. Irving. Pull up. Kaboom! Kyrie. And the Hawks have to make a decision here.
You think they got a foul?
Kevin Durant goes to the rim and flushes it down. Durant puts the Nets in front by 5. And they went toe-to-toe with the Hawks. It's over.
And welcome back to the show. I told you that was going to be a long one, but that was the highlights of the Brooklyn Nets and the Atlanta Hawks game of the year by far. No defense was being played. One of those great high-scoring games that we all known and love to see. And look, that was a big game for Brooklyn, especially Brooklyn. Being a very good team right now, so it's strong for. It's good for Brooklyn to get that win, and Atlanta. We're going to go ahead and discuss them as well. Happy New Year to you too. I appreciate you coming to the show. And so yeah, it was a big game for both of these teams, and so. We are going to go ahead and discuss that. So our topic is So let's get into the NBA season so far. So it's the season's still very young, still very young. Not a lot of games have been played, but it's still a young season. And so we want to basically go ahead and talk about some of the kind of shocker teams that are playing very hard right now, and some very disappointing teams that are not playing up to par. And there's a lot of teams that's been happening like that this year. So we really have to go ahead and discuss some of those games. And so let's get into that right now. So let's go ahead and start on the Eastern Conference side. And so let's go from there. So it's a lot of teams that we have not heard that are right now on top of the standings right now. And so look, let's go ahead and discuss some of those teams. So right now, the 76ers are basically tied in the three-way tie as of right now. So the 76ers right now are in first place of the Eastern Conference. And then we have the Indiana Pacers, who's been playing very hard, who has been a very good team, but they've been mostly a middle of the pack team. And so we want to go ahead and, give them some love right now. So the Indiana has been a very good team, but a middle of the pack team. So hopefully they can ride this momentum into the rest of the season. And then so we also have the Orlando Magic, who are currently right now in 4-1, who's playing very strong basketball right now. Markelle Fultz looked like a player we all thought he would be. Cole Anthony's providing them a spark, and of course Nikola Vucevic, who's always been a stat sheet stuffer each and every game he's played. Orlando is playing very good basketball right now. Unfortunately, they did lose their first game to the first place 76ers, but look, the Magic, who's usually never one of those top teams you really think about, they're usually always fighting for the 8th seed. If they can keep this up, then look, this is going to be a good season for them. And then we also have another team who's usually not very good at all, but the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks is playing very good basketball. They're currently in 4th place with a 3-1 record. And they have been playing very good basketball. They lost their first game against we just saw in the highlights against the Brooklyn Nets, who's playing very good basketball as well. But we got to give some big props to Atlanta Hawks. They look like a playoff team this year, and it's good for Atlanta fans because basketball has been very, very bad for them over the past couple of years. So if they can maintain this momentum and go into the playoffs, then I know Hawks fans out there in Atlanta is going to be one happy campers. And so the Brooklyn Nets, who we all knew was going to be a good team this year, right now with the 5th spot with a 3-2 record. The Brooklyn Nets, we all know it's going to compete for the top seed in the NBA, in Eastern Conference. You have KD, who's playing like old KD, who looks like he didn't mess up his Achilles just over a year ago. Now he's playing like nothing has happened to him. He's playing well. If Kyrie Irving can maintain his health as well and play enough games to get them competitive for the first seed in the Eastern Conference Finals, they're going to be dangerous. They're going to be very dangerous, okay? And so with the 6th seed, right now it's the Cleveland Cavaliers, which I don't think anybody expected them to be playing as well as they are right now, but they are. Collin Sexton and Darius Garland looks like to be a 1-2 punch out there in Cleveland. And also Andre Drummond is a great piece, a great veteran leader who's a glass cleaner extraordinaire, who's going to grab rebounds and get his points off a putback, who's still very athletic, who's still a strong shot blocker. They're playing very well out there in Cleveland. And, with Cleveland fans, it has been good since LeBron James left town again. And so, Cleveland has high hopes that they can get in the playoffs. They're at number 7, who's usually not right there in that category, and I don't see them staying at number 7. I expect them to move up. It's the Boston Celtics, and it hasn't been exactly the greatest start to them, but it's still early in the season. They still have a lot of ways to go. And then number 8 right now is the Charlotte Hornets. Charlotte Hornets has a lot of young pieces that seem to be playing very well with each other. LaMelo Ball is starting to get his NBA legs under him. He's looking like he's kind of understanding the game a little bit better. He's scoring. He's being a little bit more aggressive. He's getting a little bit more minutes, and it's showing on the stats. It's showing on the stats. He's getting his points now, and the rest of the team, Devontae Graham, Miles Bridges, is playing very well. So let's see if they can keep up. And so let's talk about some disappointing teams right now. So Miami hasn't started very well with only a 2-2 record, and they lost like about almost 50-something points, like 52 points they lost. It was against Milwaukee, but they was able to come back and win because with the new NBA, they're kind of playing home and home games. So, they was able to get their revenge and get their win. And then so let's continue on. The Bucks are not playing well right now with the 2-3 record. That's really not Bucks worthy, who we thought was going to play a little bit harder than they are right now. Now, granted, they're still a new team. They have to revamp their team, and I expect them to get in to be competitive, trying to get the number 1 seed. But right now, they're not playing that well. That well. Let's also talk about the Raptors. The Raptors are not playing well at all either with the 1-3 record. I mean, I don't know what's going on out there. Maybe they're not playing in Toronto is probably hurting them. I don't know. That could be the case. I don't know what it is, but they have to do something to step up their game. I mean, they're 1-3 right now on the road and 0-2 at home. They are playing in Tampa Bay this year, which is very different. I get it, but they have to up their play. And then one last team I thought was going to be a lot better, but they're not. Washington Wizards. Right now they're dead last in the Eastern Conference with a 0-5 record. You bring in Russell Westbrook, who was supposed to give you that spark, who's averaging a triple-double who averaged a triple-double basically this whole season. He's averaging a triple-double. Then you have Bradley Beal, who's scoring at a high rate, who's definitely an all-star player. I say he's a superstar, absolutely, but I don't know. It's not translating to the wins. I think those guys are like the heartbeat of that team because everybody else is pretty bad. Everybody else is bad on that team. So they definitely have to figure it out. I don't know. It's going to be a tough season for Washington. But, man, their fans deserve a better team, but they're not getting it right now. So, it hurts, but they got to do a lot better. So let's go ahead and move on to the Western Conference, and let's go ahead and talk about them right now. So right now the Clippers have the number one spot with a 4-1 record. We all knew this was going to happen. The Clippers we're going to be a good team. The Clippers are built for the regular season. They're a very strong regular season team. Now, is this team going to translate well into the playoffs? I don't know, because we all know Paul George to fall in the playoffs. And look, we have to see how it goes, but we all know in the regular season they're going to be good. That's not a shock to nobody. Don't get me wrong. Even they lost a bad game to the Dallas Mavericks, which is like 50 points as well, just like the Milwaukee and Miami game. But look, we all know the Clippers are going to be good. That wasn't a surprise to nobody. Now, this is a surprise with the Phoenix Suns. Phoenix Suns is playing very well with a 4-1 record and second in the Western Conference. And look, it looks like Chris Paul and Booker looks like a a great fit for each other. I thought the Phoenix Suns needed that one strong point guard to really lead them, and Chris Paul is just that. Because look, Booker is not a point guard by any stretch of the imagination. He needs a strong point guard that to really complement him, and Chris Paul is doing that. They're playing very well right now. It looks like a strong team in Phoenix, and I see them making it to the playoffs. And so right now we have basically a big log jam with the 3, 4, and 5 record. So right now the Pelicans, New Orleans Pelicans, are third with the 3 and 2 record. A lot of young guys on that team who's got another year under their belt playing with each other and on the same team, and now they are getting wins. They are getting wins right now, and it's working well right now. So hopefully they keep that up. Number 4 is the Sacramento Kings, and I don't think anybody expected Sacramento to be where they are right now. They're playing very well in the first part of the season. You know, De'Aaron Fox is a strong point guard. Buddy Hield is a good player as well, and then you also have God, I don't know why I'm drawing a blank right now, but Marvin Bagley. There we go. I don't know why I couldn't think of his map, but Bagley, he's developing into a good player as well. So the Sacramento Kings is doing very well. And then number 5, the champion Los Angeles Lakers with a 3 and 2 record. And look, right now you can kind of tell the Lakers are a very different team than what they were last year. They're scoring at a high rate, which last year they relied more on their defense to really carry them through the games. It's very different this year. And you know, when you bring in Dennis Schroeder, who averaged 18 points a game last year, you bring in Montrezl Harrell, who basically averaged the same thing. You bring in Marc Gasol, who who can shoot, who can distribute the ball very well, and then you still have LeBron James and Anthony Davis. It's very different. It's very different on that team. That the defense might not be as strong as it was because they're not as tall as they were last year with Dwight Howard and JaVale McGee both moving on to their different teams. This year is very different. So they're relying more on their offense, and it's still a new team. But right now, with a 3 and 2 record, I see them moving up and still competing in the Western Conference. They're not gonna be fifth for too long. And so number 6 is the Minnesota Timberwolves with a 2 and 2 record. I mean, it's a lot of teams from 6 on down to the 10th seed. Everybody's 2 and 2 right now. So let's talk about the Timberwolves. D'Angelo Russell, Anthony Edwards looking like a great number 1 pick for them. And Karl Anthony Towns, unfortunately, who is hurt right now. But, when he comes back, that's still going to be a strong team. Utah Jazz, excuse me, with the 7th seed, they're playing very well as well. Donovan Mitchell is still balling out. Rudy Gobert is looking like a top center, a top 10 center for sure. And, Utah is always competing in the Western Conference, always a middle of a pack team, usually around that 4, 5, 6, or 7 area. So we're going to have to see how their season develops. And then we have the Portland Trailblazers with a 2 and 2 record who, was able to beat the world champion Lakers at their own home. That's a big win. Was able to beat Houston as well. That's another big win for them. So, you got to watch out for the Trailblazers. They can get hot at any moment. And move up into the top 3 seed. It can happen out of anywhere. That's what happens when you have Damian Lillard, CJ McCollum, Jusuf Nurkic, and other great players on that team. It wouldn't look past me to see the Trailblazers keep constantly moving up into in the Western Conference rankings. And so let's go ahead and look at some, teams that I thought would be a lot better. Number 1 is the Warriors. I mean, look, I thought the Warriors were going to be a lot better this year. Not they have Steph Curry back, but you can kind of tell that injury to Klay Thompson was a backbreaker for that team. Was a big backbreaker for that team. James Wiseman looks like a great rookie center, a great pickup for the for the Warriors. They look like he looks like a good pickup for them. And Draymond hasn't came back from his injury. That's going to be a big help when he comes back. We're going to have to see how the Warriors play out, but I do not see them making the playoffs this year. It just looks so bad for Steph Curry. It looks like he's trying everything in his power to will that team to wins, and that's not going to be well in the long run. Steph Curry is going to be burnt out before All-Star break, so it looks bad. The Warriors need a lot of help. Either they can get out of some trades or something, but they need a lot of work. Houston, I thought would be a lot better. Houston hasn't really played well. You can kind of tell that stuff with James Harden, it really messed that team up. And don't get me wrong, James Harden is playing very well right now, but it looks really bad right now. I don't think their chemistry is quite right yet. Hopefully they can figure it out, but right now it doesn't look right. And then the Dallas Mavericks. I thought the Dallas Mavericks would be a lot stronger right now. I thought Luka Doncic would take that step up and really lead that team into greatness, but he hasn't right now. And it's not looking good for right now, but we'll see. And then the Nuggets are really not playing that well for being the team who did make to the Western Conference Finals. So the Nuggets have to figure it out. Nikola Jokic is playing very well. Jamal Murray is doing what he has to do. But that team is not playing that well. I thought they lost a lot of depth on that team, which really was bad. A lot of players like Jeremy Grant, Plumlee, who left, Torrey Craig, who left. That the Nuggets was a very deep team, but now they're not anymore, and you can kind of tell you can kind of see it in the games. So we have to look out. We have to look out for the Nuggets as well. So that's basically the end of the NBA talk. The Eastern Conference looks very different with the Pacers, Magic, Hawks being good, Cleveland being okay, and the Hornets. There's a lot of teams who were bottom feeders in the East are playing very strong basketball. So it's pretty much changing in the East, and the Western Conference is always competitive. So it's going to be at least 12 teams who's going to be in the playoff hunt. So we have to look at that. So that's like I said, that's the end of the NBA talk. And so we are going to move on into our last topic, which is the NBA Finals week. And before we do that, if you want to interact with anything about your favorite basketball team being pretty good or they're not right now, by all means, let's go ahead and talk about it. And we can definitely do that. So let's go ahead and talk. And our final topic is the NBA Finals week. Now, look, let's talk about it. This is a very, very, very tight playoff big type week. Okay, this Finals week has a lot of moving and shaking in the NBA playoff. The NFL playoffs. And so usually this is very interesting because usually the final week, everybody rest their starters. It's a lot of teams just doing whatever, just trying to rest their starters and be ready for the playoffs. But it's a lot more competitive this year because of the fact that there's more teams that can make it to the playoffs this year. And so let's go ahead and talk about it. Let's go ahead and talk about it. All right. So let's talk about the NBA on the the NFC side. So look, there's still a fight. There's still a fight for the number one seed. So right now the Green Bay Packers are number one in the NFC. And so if they win, they have the number one seed. They get the bye week. They have to play the Bears, which is a big divisional rival, who the Bears are playing for their playoff slide. So both of these teams have something to play for right now. So the Packers definitely wants to get that number one seed, get that first week bye, because only the number one seed this year only gets first round byes. So Green Bay is looking for that. So look, if the Saints win their game against the Carolina Panthers, and Green Bay loses, the Saints will get up there and become the number 1 seed. And then we also have Seattle, who the Saints and Seattle both have 11-4 records. So Seattle needs to win their divisional game against the 49ers, needs the Packers and the Saints to lose for them to get into that number 1 seed. And so let's round out the rest of the NFC. So Tampa Bay's in. They right now currently have the 5th seed with a 10-5 record. They're playing the Falcons, so basically they're just packing it up for the season. They already made it. You don't have to really play anybody else. I mean, they're pretty much set in that 5th seed. And so let's look at the rest of the playoffs, which teams really need to win. Okay, let's look at Washington. Now, Washington right now is control their own destiny. Okay, so they have the 4th seed right now because they are winning their division with a 6-9 record. Now let's be real. The NFC East is probably the worst division we've seen in a long time. It's a very bad division. This division is really, really bad. So Washington could make it to the playoffs with a 7-9 record, which is crazy to me. But somebody has to win that division. And so we have the Rams. The Rams are right now in the 6th seed. They need a big win to get to 10-6, and they could move up. They could move up into that 5th seed. I just thought about that because if Tampa Bay loses to the Falcons, which I don't see happening, they can have a 10-6 record. The Rams can have a 10-6 record. They can move up a little bit. And so I think this is the biggest game right here in the NFC, the Chicago Bears. Okay, so now let's look at this. Chicago Bears and the Arizona Cardinals right now are both tied with the 8-7 record. Right now, the Bears are currently in the last spot for the playoffs. So the Bears have to beat the Packers, which is saying a lot because the Packers are one of the best teams in the NFL and still have something to play for. And the Arizona Cardinals right now are on the outside looking in with the AC. They have to play the Los Angeles Rams, which is another great team. And so look, the Bears, if they win, they're in, right? And if Arizona needs to win and have the Bears to lose so they can sneak into the last wild card game. So that's a big game for both of them. They both have to win their respectable games to get into the playoffs. Arizona Cardinals need a little help, but if the Bears lose and the Cardinals win, there you have it. Arizona's in there. And so look, and also rounding out the NFC with the Washington football team and the rest of the division, the Cowboys can still make it. The Cowboys can still make it with the 7-9 record. If they beat New York and Washington loses, the Cowboys can win the NFC East. And the Giants are still in it. They still need a lot of help for them to win. They need Washington to lose. They need to win their game against the Cowboys. And they could sneak in, but it's very hard for the Giants. Very hard for the Giants right now. So the NFC East is still wide open, but Washington controls their destiny. They basically need to win. They just need to win against the Eagles, who are out of playoff contention. So, that's the end of that. They have to get a win. They have to get a win, Washington, to get the NFC East. So that's basically it for the NFC. The NFC, the Packers need to have the number 1 seed, then the Saints, number 2, Seattle, and Washington football team are the top 4 teams right now. Then Tampa Bay, Los Angeles Rams, and the Bears. And then on the outside looking in, Arizona, who's trying to get in, the Cowboys, who are trying to win the NFC East, and also the New York Giants. So let's talk about the AFC. The AFC is very competitive. A lot of good teams in the AFC. Okay, so the Chiefs have the number one seed. They're set in stone, 14-1 record. They don't have to worry about anything. They're good to go. They're good to go. Okay, then we also have the Buffalo Bills, who snuck into the number 2 seed with a 12-3 record. And we all know Buffalo's going to be a strong team this year. We all know Buffalo was going to be a strong team. We all knew Buffalo was going to be a strong team this year. And they showed it. It looked like Stephon Diggs and Josh Allen are like tag team champions right now. They play so well with each other. And then we have the Steelers. The Steelers was able to win their division against the Indianapolis Colts last week. So they're in, but they still have a lot to play for. They still have a lot to play for against Cleveland, who we're gonna talk about. And so we have some teams in the hunt right now. So number 4 is the Tennessee Titans. Now, this is still tough because right now Tennessee and the Indianapolis Colts are both tied with a 10-5 record. So Tennessee has to beat Houston Texans, who are not the best team at all, but they have to get their win. They have to win this game by all means. And then we have the Miami Dolphins, who are in the 5th seed, who managed to get a tough win against the Las Vegas Raiders, who they knocked them out of playoff contention with the last-minute Hail Mary throw. Ryan Fitzpatrick's getting his face mask. His whole head is just all to the side and stuff like this. Was able to get into field goal range with that and a penalty because of the face mask. And so Miami, with a 10-5 record, has to could get a little closer with it with the win and go 11-5 and really, kind of catch that 4th seed. But Miami has played a great year this year after last year's horrible season. Last year was so bad, but they was able to overcome that. Their defense is one of the top defenses in the NFL, and they play very hard. And then we have the Baltimore Ravens, also with a 10-5 record, which is who's been playing very well. It was very suspect in the middle of the season. They didn't play well at all. And so, but now they found their old ways. Lamar Jackson's playing well. Team is playing very well. They have the 6th seed right now. And then this is where it gets tricky right here. We have the Browns, who are currently still clinging to that 7th seed, to the last playoff spot. And they had a chance to win. They had a chance to win and get in with a win against the New York Jets, who's one of the worst, who basically is one of the worst teams in the NFL, and laid an egg and played horrible. And lost to the 1-15, who was 1-15 Jets. And now they have to fight for their playoff lives against the Pittsburgh Steelers, who does not want to see the Browns make it to the playoffs. Nobody wants to see their divisional rivals in the playoffs. So the Steelers have something to play for, and they're going to want to beat the Browns. So the Browns have to do everything in their power to win this game, because the Colts, who are on the outside looking in, could easily take over that 7th spot. And they have to play the Jaguars, who's basically playing for no reason. They're just like, look, we already got our first pick in the NFL draft. We don't have nothing to play for. Like, we could lose. We don't care. And the Colts have something to play for. The Colts is going to play their hearts out to get into that 7th seed. And the Browns are in trouble. The Browns are in trouble. They really messed up losing to the Jets. They had to win that game. So the Browns are going to play their hearts out. They do not want to be on the outside looking in and have another year of playoff drought, because I think it's been 12 years since they made it to the playoffs, something like that. So it's a lot of teams right now, from the 4th seed down to the 8th seed, that are all 10-5, all 10-5. And it's really interesting to see the AFC because usually the NFC is a little bit more competitive than the AFC, but it's not the case this year. So that's the end of that. So the Chiefs are number 1, set in stone. They're good to go. The Bills are number 2. Steelers are number 3. Titans, Dolphins, Ravens, Browns, and the Colts all with a 10-5 record. The Titans are the 4th seed. Miami 5th seed. Baltimore is the 6th seed. Browns are the 7th seed. On the outside looking in is the Colts. So that is the end of the NFL talk and also the end of the show. So I appreciate you guys coming out to the show each and every week. It's the first show of the year. I'm so excited to continue on this year and give more great content. And so I appreciate you guys coming out as always. And so if you guys are on Twitch, I'm just going to end it. Usually I host somebody, but it's not today. And on Facebook and Facebook and YouTube, I appreciate all you guys who came out, everybody who interacted, everybody who shared the stream, liked the stream. I appreciate you guys wholeheartedly, and I will see you guys as always next week from noon to 1 Pacific Standard Time, and I will see you guys again next week. So I will get with you guys next time. Peace.